What is up, everybody? Welcome to Happy Hour at Happy Hour. As always, Jake Micah, joined by Donovan Holden. We're here ready to lock in. We've got huge game 5 tonight in Phoenix. The Suns up 3-1, looking to go to the NBA Finals. The Suns, the Phoenix fucking Suns going to the NBA Finals. We'll get into why that's so absurd later on in this episode, but we are going to start off with one of probably the story of the summer in the NBA if it comes to fruition. Damian Lillard is unhappy with the Portland Trailblazers. Dunny, where's Dame getting traded to? Because I feel like we're just planting the tea leaves to get to this point, and he's not being shy, but it's definitely a different approach than we've seen before.
Absolutely a different approach. We kind of, or at least I'm eating my own words here, because about probably a little less than a month ago, I said Dame's one of those guys. So it seems like he's staying loyal to Portland. But there's also the time where, especially in today's NBA, enough is enough. I think I'm going to go off of Stephen A's loaded take that he just had about Kawhi Leonard and asking if it is the Clippers' best interest to keep a guy like Kawhi around because of load management, the injuries, kind of the no nonsense, doesn't really speak to anyone attitude. I may see, especially if this series ends in 5 tonight. I'm looking at some sort of Kawhi Leonard, Dame Lillard deal where Lillard goes to the Clippers and Kawhi does his own thing in Portland.
Holy shit. That would be legendary. That would be a legendary deal.
That was just like right off the rip, like off the top of the head. But like I feel like that like kind of works for both parties a little bit. Kawhi like finally like it'd be more like a Toronto situation for Kawhi, where like not really his own team, but like at the end of the day, like it pretty much would be his own team if he was there. If it's like just him, CJ, and like Nurkic. But yeah, that
would be a squad. That would be a squad. Would you rather have CJ McCollum or Paul George as your co-star teammate? I feel like Kawhi is probably like for Kawhi Leonard, it might be. Damn,
that's tough. I mean, I don't know if I can say Paul George, just what we're seeing right now.
It's Paul George, but you have to think about it. That's the thing.
Yeah,
you have to like give yourself pause.
Yep.
So the story, I mean, it wasn't like a regular like trade story or anything, but Chris Haynes reporting it essentially just seemed like it was Damian Lillard telling Chris Haynes all these things, and it just turned into sources, very particular things that Dame was complaining about. But it just seems like it's been going sour there for a while, and he's just kind of like, nah, like this isn't it anymore. And this has been a topic for how many years, like that Dame needed more help. He wasn't going to be able to do anything unless he got out. And everyone's like, oh, Dame's too loyal, but it's like, dude realizes that he's one of the 7 best players in the NBA right now. And that if he has, no offense to CJ, because CJ's an amazing teammate, I'm sure Dame would talk him up all the time and say how great of a teammate he is. But they've always been redundant together. And Dame's just figured it out. He's like, bro, I can't do this anymore. He puts up 60 and a lot. That had to be the breaking point. The 60-point bomb, and they still can't beat the Nuggets without one of their guards even. It just had to all of it culminating to Dame finally leaving. And there's a lot of interesting teams. Do you think your Boston Celtics are going to be involved with a Damian Lillard type trade at all? Or the Philadelphia 76ers potentially with a Ben Simmons type trade? Like, I'm trying to think of like potential. Would the Bulls want to trade Zach LaVine in a package to try to get Dame in Chicago? The Knicks, like I'm thinking if he wants to go, Portland's going to get rid of him. They're going to try to send him out east. They don't want revenge toward Dame in the West.
Oh no, that is the last thing that anyone wants. I could see Philly being much more reasonable of a landing spot for Dame than my Boston Celtics. I mean, that's a personal opinion, and I think it works a little better. I think you can flip a Simmons trade for Lillard, and it's easier to work out details. Whereas for the Boston Celtics, maybe if we didn't see all these changes in the front office and the coaching with the Celtics this year, maybe Jaylen Brown would have been a little less happy, but it seems like he is ecstatic about the new coaching position. It seems like Brad wants to keep both the Jays long term. And I don't know if this Celtics get any better if you move a guy like Jaylen Brown for Damian Lillard. I think they would have to win in the first year or two for the trade to be worth it. Otherwise, it's a bust, and you let one of the best young two-way players in the NBA just essentially walk if you don't win a ring within the first 2-3 years. So I think Simmons makes more sense for both parties if you're looking like that. And I completely agree where you got to get Lillard as far away where you play him the least amount of games in the season if you're the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah, as far away, just whatever the furthest distance is from Portland geographically in the NBA, that is where they should be looking to send that man. Because he is going to come out fire next year no matter what. It'll be interesting. Let's get into tonight's matchup, though, Donovan. We have the Phoenix Suns, Chris Paul, Devin Booker, and DeAndre Ayton, and the Phoenix Suns looking to move on to the NBA Finals. We've been big proponents of the Phoenix Suns all year long. How insane does it feel that this is actually happening tonight? Or do you think that it's potentially happening tonight? And what's your read, I guess, on this game after last game's strange affair that happened on Saturday night?
Yeah, just going back to that game, super ugly, and it makes tonight a lot harder to get a read on because I really don't know what to expect tonight. I'm skipping in out here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but
I don't know what to expect tonight. I think it seems like if the Suns have been the team, like we've been talking about, it seems like they figured out and they do get tonight a gentleman's sweep, if you will, a sweep of an asterisk, whatever you want to call it. I think that's very possible. It's definitely in the cards tonight. He had one of his career, especially this postseason. So I don't know. What do you think of tonight? For me, it's hard to say.
I'm very confident in the Phoenix Suns tonight. Actually, I don't know, man. Like they've answered every bell, and even they've had an easier road than I think that everybody kind of thought they were going to get. They lucked out with a Lakers series and a potential Lakers upset there because Anthony Davis got hurt, LeBron's still coming back from an injury, all that, and they've just answered the bell there. They were clearly the better team. Here, 1 second, let's get this back up. They were clearly the better team against the Nuggets, and they're just coming into fruition right now. And it's all working. Chris Paul's making it work. I don't know, man. I just think we're at a point where, let's see if we can get Dunny back in here. Dunny, you back? There we go.
Yes, sir. Hopefully we can have some good connection.
I don't know if it's working for you there yet. This is what
plug some game 4 back. I'll figure it out and come back. Talk about.
Yeah, so Dunny's still having some technical difficulties. This is Wi-Fi. It's summer. It's hot outside. That's what it'd be like out here. I do think the Clippers have a good chance tonight, though. I really think that they've hit a lot of shots in key times, and they've just. I mean, this series goes a couple different ways. If Paul George hits some free throws, and if the value doesn't happen at all, and this year, like the thing that worries me about tonight in Game 5, Dunny, is that the Clippers have been in like damn near all these games that they've lost. Like it's not like this series could be turned on its head right now. The Clippers could be up 3-1 very easily if they get a couple different breaks. Paul George doesn't miss free throws. Whatever happened with the free throws the other night, the value in general, just that entire play. So it's feasible, but this Clippers team can come back, and I don't know. I who do you think is going to have to step up alongside Paul George? We've seen a lot of Reggie Jackson, but I don't think he can. I don't think he can carry it. I think he needs help from one of these other guys on the bench.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you hope it could be a Terrence Mann type game like we saw in Game 6 of that Utah Jazz series, but I think that's just asking a lot of a second year guy and someone who's. I mean, we've seen him do that one time and the one time only, and this series has kind of been off and on. He's really not even getting that many minutes from Coach Ty Lue. So, at this point, you're almost asking for some playoff Rondo, but I mean, obviously he doesn't have the firepower that the Suns can pull from
Yeah, I don't know if it's happening for playoff Rondo.
for their sixth. They can get that from the Suns on the other side can get that from their sixth, seventh, like eighth guy, as far as the type of production that Rondo brings. So I don't know. It seems like back against the wall. I'm just a little curious if Kawhi was ever even a possibility at this point, because you ask
I don't think so. Yeah,
what the Clips can do. It's basically Kawhi would have had to have played. It's kind of strange, I think, that we never really heard much after Game 1, where it kind of seemed like he was going to return at some point. But now it's back against the wall, and he's still going to be, watching from the stands or probably watching from home this game, because I don't know if he even traveled to Phoenix today.
yeah. I don't think I don't think he traveled anywhere. I didn't see that. Yeah, it's gonna be weird. It's the secretism of Kawhi, right? Like we never really know what the fuck's going on with that guy, and this is clear again. Like we'll probably find out the extent of his injury after the playoffs. If they get eliminated tonight, um, if they get eliminated tonight, then we'll find out what his real injury is and everything. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. What do you think? So the spread is 5.5, and what do you think the score? What do you think the score is going to be? Do you have any predictions? Any other bets you're looking at? Here, I got to shout out my grandma though, watching here, letting us know Tampa Bay scored. Good job. Tampa Bay did score. I see it up here. I don't know who it was. I bet on the Montreal Canadiens though, so not looking forward to that. Yeah, but so score prediction. Any props you're looking at? What are we looking at here?
I've kind of been rolling DeAndre Ayton's props all series long here. I think you could go for his PAR, points, rebounds, assists total. That's at 29.5. I like his points, rebounds, and assists.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and I like his points and rebounds separately as is, because 17.5 for points and then 12.5 with even money for rebounds. And this dude grabbed 19 boards last game. I don't know if we touched on this or if you touched on it when I was cutting out, but he right now has the highest field goal percentage in a single postseason with 70.9%. He shares that list with guys like James Worthy, Hakeem Olajuwon, and Shaq. So Ayton is really playing out of his tree. As far as the score goes, I actually expect a big scoring game, even though last game neither team even came close to cracking 100. I think maybe I'm thinking maybe like a 112-103 Suns victory tonight. I don't know. I think that Suns and 4 dude's going to be in the crowd. They're going to get it done. They're going to get it done in 5. I just really like it. It seems like we're like pulling teeth trying to figure out what the Clippers can do to win this game. And if it's that hard for us to think of any scenario where they have a chance, then it doesn't look good.
Yeah, you're right. I don't really know what more to add to that, because you kind of just said, like, if we're just sitting here like, how are the Clippers? Like, that's the reason I couldn't go with the Clippers this morning. Like, I woke up and just was like, Suns, it's got to be, because it's like, am I really going to stretch and believe it's going to be like the Paul George and Reggie Jackson game in Phoenix? That's the thing, too, is if it was in LA, it'd be different. I could think of it differently. But back in Phoenix, that place is going to be jumping. That place is going to be going nuts.
I think the last 2 games, we've probably seen the worst CP3 or borderline the worst CP3 and Book have looked all season.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
Book, it took him like a game and a half to figure out that he didn't want to wear the mask anymore. It was
Hmm.
clearly bothering him. I mean, we kind of thought, anytime a superstar puts on the mask, they immediately get better. Apparently, it's not for everyone because it looked like it was bothering him. CP3 hadn't done any sort of activity in 11 days before the last two games. So obviously he needed to get his legs under him. And now you would have to assume that both those guys don't have three flops of games in a row. So it just looks worse and worse for the Clippers the more we talk about it. But before we wrap any of this up or you give your predictions, I do want to hone in on playoff P a little more. What are we getting to with Paul George here and his bad play in the playoffs, especially this series? Is he getting anywhere near the Ben Simmons territory where Clippers fans are going to be like,
Oh,
we want him out? I mean, am I getting carried away thinking that? Of course, it's different scale. Like he's had huge games where he literally saved this team. Talking specifically about the Utah series, but what are we seeing from PG here?
so here's what's interesting to me too about this is I've been thinking about it since we were talking about it earlier. I'm pretty sure that they both can opt out after this year, right? I'm pretty sure they signed a 2-1, so they get to opt in or opt out this summer. So what if what if this goes down in flames? PG just blows it in the conference finals, and Kawhi is angry or not angry about his knee, and like the Clippers just explode before we even know it. Like maybe there's more at stake with this game like tonight than before because I mean he's done a lot for this. Like he's the only reason they're in some of these games even. So I think that to give him that credit, like he's been outstanding. He's been outstanding in some of these games, but it's just the key moments where he needs another guy like that. And I think it's more credit to the Suns in those moments. I mean, I don't know what you can say about the free throws,
Yeah,
but it's the free throws are just a mental thing that I don't know if he's ever going to get over. And I think he's just, this is what we have to expect from him. Like he's just a guy. He is more Chris Middleton than he is Kawhi Leonard, and that's basically like that's the level of guy he is, and that's what we should expect. But yeah, maybe you mentioning that maybe this is like a huge game for the Clippers going forward, depending on how Kawhi and Paul George really feel about what's happening the last couple of years. And who knows, like everybody wants to go somewhere now. Who fucking knows?
yeah. I mean,
Maybe Kawhi goes to the Lakers. Actually, he's like, "Fuck it, I'll just Lakers clear out all this cap space." And Kawhi's like, "Sorry guys, sorry I didn't listen to you."
I'll try this LA team. But yeah, I mean, before hopping on this live stream, I wasn't even thinking about the Clippers being a team where we could be seeing it get blown up. And I mentioned, I had a galaxy brain moment where Dame goes to the Clippers and Kawhi goes to Portland. But now, like, we have all these different options. It's like Paul George, Kawhi, do they blow everything up? Reggie Jackson's looked great. He's going to be a valuable player, the next few seasons. Teams will for sure be interested in him. And now I'm thinking, well, is this a place for Ben Simmons? Because this is just a team that obviously has a lot to offer. If they do go the starting over route and want to move either one of their studs players in Kawhi and PG, or Reggie, like I mentioned, and some picks, it's going to be interesting. But at this same time, they gave up all those first round picks not too long ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's going to be, we keep talking about this offseason coming up. The Clippers are looking more and more like they're going to be a focal point of this offseason.
What about a sign and trade Paul George for Ben Simmons?
I mean, yeah,
straight up.
I think the Sixers would
PG's just
much better off.
The Sixers, I mean, Paul George and Embiid, like Paul George might be the perfect guy for Embiid because at least he'll shoot the ball.
Yeah. And Kawhi Leonard will just be like, yo, like, Ben, you can't do that here. Like, figure it out.
I don't know. Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting summer coming up. And I think the Clippers are going to be one of those teams. Did you see the video of Ballmer like looking so disappointed when PG missed that free throw. The
Yeah,
look
I
on
know.
his
I was gonna mention that one of the 80 times I cut out, dude. But I literally thought that I literally thought Ballmer was like cause of death, like Paul George. Like I
if that
literally, yeah, cause of death, playoff P.
if they don't re-sign Paul George in the offseason, or they're talking about trying to trade him for somebody else, that will be the gift. That'll be the moment that we
Oh
know
yeah,
he was gone right there. And this dude's not going to be a patient guy. That's the thing with he is not. They're building a fucking new arena for the Clippers in LA. Like they want to be good right now. So he might just get antsy and be like, "Nah, we need to change this shit up." And Paul George getting packaged all over the place and signing trades wherever he wants to go. It's gonna
yeah.
be
Honestly,
interesting.
I honestly feel a little bad for Ballmer, dude. Like I feel like that dude like literally thought he was walking on
He got
sunshine. Like
bamboozled.
yeah, like diamond hands, dude. Like this guy was literally like I have it all right now when he got those two, and
He saw Kawhi win that title in Toronto against that beat up ass fucking Warriors team, and he was like, this guy's amazing. We got to get him. He's beating LeBron and the Warriors. And then Kawhi just swindled the shit out of him and was like, go get this Paul George guy. And it didn't matter if it worked out for them. It's like, we're only going to sign for 2 years. And he's like, do it, whatever. And they gave up everything for these guys that could be gone within this offseason. And then what do the Clippers do? We thought the Clippers were obscure before. What are the Clippers after that? They're just going to be trying to get stars, I guess. They're just going to be the Knicks, just trying to sign or overpay every star that wants to come to, or kind of star that wants to come to LA. Man, that would be dark.
yeah,
That's a dark timeline for the Clippers, potentially.
I feel like people forget, dude, that that's kind of what they did. They gave up so much for these two guys, and or at
Do
least to
you
make room for
remember?
these guys and create this team.
Do you remember that moment? Do you remember like waking up that next morning and seeing that trade? Like it was the most absurd moment I think one of the most absurd moments in my life.
Yeah, you had to scroll like 5 times to see the amount of first round picks that were on that trade. It was insane, dude. But yeah, it's just like what I remember vividly is all the what's it called, like the photoshops and just showing like what their starting five was going to be, and just PG and Kawhi just standing in the front, and I'm like, dude, this team is winning a title like soon, and I mean I got bamboozled like Ballmer did, like I don't know. I think many did. I think just the thought of PG, especially because when PG came to the Clippers, he was coming off a third in the MVP votings when he played alongside Russ.
Yeah.
Like it's not like playoff P. Like I literally think it's a mental thing. I mean, you talk about how
Well, he got dotted up by Dame. It's never been the same since.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it is tough to see, man. Maybe the media just like kills players these days because of how just how much it lies with them and sticks with them. But yeah, I mean, it's getting sad to see. But I mean, we've been talking about legacy games kind of as jokes, kind of serious. These whole playoffs, like, man, if there hasn't been a bigger one than Paul George tonight, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, he could change a lot of opinions tonight if he comes out with a flamethrower performance. Even if they lose this series, he needs to go down. He needs to go down swinging with some kind of crazy game. He's got to be special the last 3 games. I mean, he really does.
It just really sucks because there's literally opportunities in the last few games to have this series knotted up if you just hit like 3 free throws in between 2 games.
Yeah.
Like it's not like he missed crucial ones in one game. Like there's back-to-back games that they could have stole one. But here we are. Well, I gave my prediction. Yeah, I don't know. Did you give yours? What do you think? I know you took you took the Suns here, but what are you thinking?
I'm going to try to manifest the fact that it's going to be a lot of points in this game because I don't want to see 84-80 again. So I'm going to jump up with you there and say, yeah, I'm going to say like a 115-99 win for the Suns, and they're pretty much in control the whole time. That's what I'm going with.
Yep, it's It's gonna be pretty nuts, man. Like, I don't know. Okay. You know what I will hope for more than anything else. I honestly, well, I hope Paul George shoots above 70% from the line because I'll honestly feel bad and we may have a Ballmer heart attack. But I also
Yeah, that would
hope
be bad.
I hope that we just don't have a late night ref show. Can't handle it. Can't handle it on a Monday night. Can't handle it in an elimination game. This series has been by far the worst. The refs have been taking over the season. They've been taking over the playoffs. We might have to do a second War on Refs podcast coming up. But
All right.
that's what I hope for.
All right. Tonight, we need like a buzzer. We need like the World Star buzzer and shit for this. The refs tonight, I don't know any of them. I've never heard of them. So I feel like that's a good
That's
sign.
probably,
I think this
that might be good.
David Guthrie. David Guthrie was in one of those Brooklyn Milwaukee games, I think, but that's the only guy I heard of. There's no Scott Foster appearance, or Mark Davis, so we might be in the clear. We might get a close, good game. Right? We need a ref watch. I think that might be a tweet I have to look out for the rest of the playoffs for the finals.
We should start that hashtag, dude. I mean, it probably is somewhere.
NBA ref watch.
Ref watch.
NBA ref watch.
Maybe Happy Hour Hoops will create a drinking game for refs.
Scott Foster watch. We wouldn't invent the Scott Foster watch, but
no. But we could create a little drinking game for crazy things that refs do. Over 2-minute review, you finish that drink.
Oh my God, we'll be drunk. We'll be drunk after the second review. Yeah. I think we can think of something for that. All right, we got about 10 minutes until tip, maybe a little bit more, whatever. I don't know how ESPN does these things. Thank you all for joining us. Suns,
thanks, guys.
If we're right, the Phoenix Suns tomorrow will be playing in the NBA Finals, which is an absurd statement to say in my lifetime. Wow.
CP3 deserves it.
Oh, indeed. Yes, sir. All right. Peace, y'all.